There was huge changes in who owns the media that you consume in 2017. In the US, you've got telecommunications companies buying media companies. You have movie studios merging, a lot of consolidation. Of course, in Australia, CBS bought Network 10. But how is it going to change the way you consume in 2018? We are wrapping that up here on Download This Show for 2017. We have Claire Riley from the technology website CNET, and we have Peter Marks, who is a technology commentator. And it was a kind of amazing year, wasn't it, Peter?
Well, look, Oztam, who does the kind of video ratings in Australia, continues to report that Australians are changing their habits. They are using streaming media rather than broadcast media. The big change is that kids used to come home from school and throw the television on. I certainly did, and you would watch Gilligan's Island and I Dream of Jeannie and all of these culturally important shows. What the kids do now is they come home and they turn on YouTube, and YouTube just auto plays one children's program after another, and that's great. I guess it's probably more interesting.
I love you. That's great.
But we have seen some problems this year where people have made shows that look like children's shows but actually are rather disturbing.
Like they made dark episodes of Peppa Pig as a joke.
But this was
YouTube
happening,
just chucks them up.
and there were whole kind of like botnets of these auto-generated kids content where they just like match a different song to it, and they'd have these 3D CGI characters they could put into any situation. Just weird.
They were somehow slipping through the recommendation system and actually being shown. Now, YouTube has responded to this. I know Nick Hopkins I spoke to about it said that, many people who work at YouTube have children themselves, and they have announced, I think just in the past couple of days, that they're going to ramp up the number of human moderators, because all of this it really relies on people reporting videos.
Yeah.
But if it's a child with a tablet or a phone just watching on their own and they're seeing Peppa drink acid or something, then, or bleach, I think it was, just to be accurate.
No, Peppa taking acid, though.
Oh, okay.
I would
On
watch,
board.
to be fair.
So, yeah, if no parent is actually watching and reporting, then how's the algorithm going to find out about it?
That really brings up the interesting idea of Facebook wanting to be a media company but not wanting to take the responsibilities of what being a media company involves. So they say, we're just a platform for other people to post their content. We're not a broadcaster.
But some of that argument has to fall away now. They're literally launching things like Facebook shows, a dedicated platform that replicates a television viewing experience. Surely the rhetoric that these companies put out about not being a media company is just...
It's not flying.
It was
Sort of
convenient.
admit it.
Look, it was convenient during growth. I mean, it's like pirate videos on YouTube, things that were taken without having the proper licensing. They kind of let that go for a long time because it brought people over to YouTube. And so now I think a lot of things have changed in the past year. And that's one of them, the fact that they're not just platforms where they have no control over what's there. They've obviously, there's the US Senate inquiry.
What a great business model to be able to just use other people's labour and creative content and you serve it up and you're getting the revenues from
In
the
fairness,
ads.
though, I do invite you both on the show. Neither of you get paid, so I'm the Facebook of this
You are
conversation.
Facebook.
There is going to be an inquiry into the impact of Facebook and Google. What do you expect to come out of that we don't already know?
Well, I think it's because between the two of them, they take 50% of online advertising. Of course, that hasn't left much money for traditional media. If all the advertising is being done through Facebook and Google, and there's good reason for that. Their advertising is so well targeted. So, as a buyer occasionally of ads, it's really good service.
You're not looking at 35 to 60-year-old females anymore. You're looking at 36-year-old woman who lives in this area
who's
and likes these Facebook pages.
exactly.
And of course, the argument is that a big part of Facebook's growth has been built off the back of content makers placing their stuff on Facebook
and
video
losing
or
brand
Instagram.
awareness. So if a story is written by the Australian and it comes up on Facebook, and you say to someone, "Where did you get that news story?" They say, "I got it from Facebook."
I've had people say, "Did you read this story?" I'm like, "Hey, friend, I wrote it."
Yeah, right.
You should actually read the byline on what you're reading.
I just don't think much can be done about this.
Well,
it's even if
Well,
we
also, in
moved it
fairness
offshore.
to Facebook, they have made some pretty significant moves to allay the fears of publishers, and they've put in some additional functions available to publishers around how advertising is split up. What about print and the written word? Because obviously in the last 5 years we saw a big take up of paid subscriptions. Is there a sense of whether or not that as an overarching strategy for a bunch of media companies has worked?
Providers that are doing hard-hitting journalism and are working in niche spaces, so maybe I am a title for, gay women in Australia or something like that, you might have a kind of a niche demographic, and that is going to work a lot better than, quite frankly, me going to smh.com.au and seeing a lot of stories that are getting served up there after I've seen them elsewhere in niche publications.
But I think that comes down to something that's really interesting. You said hard-hitting. It's not necessarily about being hard-hitting, though, is it? It's about, I need this. I need everything that comes out of this.
And that's why business journalism has always done well, because it's actually, this is real dollars for me, what I'm reading here. I'm interested in paying for tech journalism. I think it was interesting, The Guardian said that they got more money from donations than they did from subscriptions this year.
Right. If you see something like the Nauru Files and you think,
there's a lot of work in that.
There's a lot of work in this, I need to keep stuff like this going, you donate. What New York Times, as an example, has done really well is creating event journalism. So they've done the Harvey Weinstein expose, but they also did that great thing where they turned someone's reader's comment into a little story, and it went viral. It was a woman who was dictating a comment, and the voice recognition service kept picking up her words as she went to answer the door, and it posted this comment that was like, "Hi Meryl, yes, just come into the kitchen," and it went into this strange stream of consciousness. They wrote a little story around it, and it went viral because it's just like, we celebrate these weird, quirky things as well as calling out damning evidence against, sexual predators.
So the lesson for the future is, for all media organisations, be unique, be something that nobody else can do.
And I think they need to rein in the annoying ads. Browsers are starting to fight this. The latest versions of Safari no longer autoplay video with audio. Chrome is going to do that next year. I know Google is going to downgrade sites that have annoying ads, the ones that interstitially pop over the whole site.
I made the mistake of turning off my ad blocker the other day, and it was the worst decision ever.
And I think titles will start to realise that if you want to treat your audiences with respect, you give them good journalism, you give them a good experience, and they'll pay for it.
There is all of this in the podcast of Download This Show. Yes, it is a podcast. That's why we called it Download This Show. It's available right now on any good podcasting app and, of course, the ABC Listen app. And we will see you there. See ya.